Do you know what truly separates a mature woman who captures the heart of a younger man from the one he only sees as a mother figure? It's not what most people believe. It's not about how old she is. It's not about her looks. It's not about her looks. It's not about money or status. It's something much more subtle. Something that many women unknowingly get wrong. If you've ever found yourself feeling a spark with a younger man, only to notice that something shifts the moment your age comes up, or if you've ever felt the need to explain yourself or overcompensate for the age difference, this will open your eyes. Because what I'm about to share goes against nearly everything you've been taught about relationships with a wide age gap. After observing countless situations and deeply studying what actually makes these relationships work, I found something surprising. The women who genuinely succeed in building meaningful connections with younger men are not following the common advice. In fact, they do the exact opposite. And the contrast is so striking that once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. You'll finally understand why some connections grow into beautiful bonds, why others turn into awkward stories you'd rather not remember. The reality is, there's a very specific way of behaving that quietly pushes younger men away. And it's not about the number of candles on your birthday cake. It's about the hidden signals many women send without realizing it. Signals that whisper insecurity. Signals that carry a silent plea for approval. Or worse, signals that shout, I need to prove myself. Now, before you think this is just another surface level suggestion to act younger or dress a certain way, pause for a moment. What I've noticed in women who thrive in these relationships is far deeper. They don't try to mimic youth. Instead, they bring something else entirely. Something a younger woman simply cannot offer. Picture this. You're a 45-year-old woman. Maybe you've been married, raised children, and now you finally have space for yourself. You meet a 32-year-old man at a dinner party. There's instant chemistry, the kind that catches you off guard, but then the conversation turns personal and something shifts. He's still kind, still friendly, but the spark, it dims. What changed? In most cases, it's not the age gap that kills the attraction. It's how the woman shifts once she becomes conscious of it. She might start cracking jokes about being older, or maybe she suddenly becomes overly nurturing, protective, even motherly. Or she might flip into performance mode, listing her career highlights or proving how put together she is. You want to know the first thing a mature woman unintentionally does wrong when she's into a younger man? And she starts caring for him, not in a romantic way, but in a parental one. She offers advice he didn't ask for. She tries to shield him from struggles he's capable of handling. She worries about things that aren't even on his radar. Here's the part no one tells you. When you do that, you awaken his instinct to be a son, not a lover. A younger man drawn to a mature woman isn't searching for another parent. He already has a mother. What he desires is a partner, someone he can explore life with, someone who makes him feel alive and seen. Now think about being in his shoes. Would you be pulled towards someone who constantly treats you like you're fragile, like you need looking after? Real attraction grows from seeing each other as equals, from respecting one another, from feeling that you are both grown adults sharing something rich and real. Let me tell you about Maria. She's 50, was married for 25 years, divorced for 2, and recently started dating again. She met David, a 35-year-old man, and the connection was immediate. But slowly, little by little, she began doing things that turned him away. Each time David talked about a rough day at work, Maria rushed to give him advice. When he felt spontaneous, she'd point out the risks and suggest a safer option. Whenever he opened up, she replied with life lessons from her own past. Maria meant well, but she didn't realize David wasn't looking for a coach. He wasn't asking for a guide. He wanted someone to share his life with, not someone to map it out for him. And this happens even more intensely when a woman tries to control the direction of the relationship. Some women believe their life experience gives them the right to shape the whole journey, to anticipate every step, to suggest every move, to plan everything down to the last detail, but that doesn't spark love. It smothers it. It removes the magic, because what keeps attraction alive? Spontaneity, unpredictability, the delicious unknown. A younger man is pulled in by the energy of discovery, the thrill of seeing who you are when you're not in control. But when everything is too planned, too managed, where's the space for adventure? Where's the room for surprise? Imagine this. Every time he wants to try something new, you already know the outcome. Every time he takes a chance, you've already warned him of the risks. Every time he wants to lead, you're already 2 steps ahead. That's not romance. That's a cage. Beautiful maybe, but still a cage. There's another thing mature women often get wrong. They feel insecure about their age. When he asks how old they are, they hesitate. They laugh nervously. They dodge the question or say something negative about themselves. Do you know what message that sends? That their age is something to hide, that it's a weakness. But a woman who owns her age with calm confidence, who speaks about her experience without apology, becomes magnetic. She shows that she's at peace with who she is, and that kind of peace is incredibly attractive. I remember one story from a client. She was out with a younger man. During dinner, he asked her age. She smiled and replied, "I'm 43. And every one of those years has taught me something meaningful." She didn't flinch. She didn't deflect. She didn't try to be younger. She was just real. And he didn't focus on the number. He focused on her presence, on her truth. Let me touch on another common misstep, the obsession with looking younger. Yes, it's beautiful to care for yourself, to feel good in your skin. But when self-care turns into desperation, when it becomes a mission to compete with women half your age, it backfires. When a younger man feels that you're trying to be something you're not, the connection fades. Because he wasn't drawn to your ability to act 20 again. He was drawn to your depth, your stillness, your self-assurance. Take Carmen, for example. She's 48 and she spent thousands on cosmetic work. Botox, fillers, flashy clothes designed for someone 20 years younger. She met Andrus, a 34-year-old man, and was sure her new look would win him over. But he seemed distant, polite but not engaged. Later, Carmen realized something. She had covered up her real essence in an effort to be someone else. Her true charm, her vibrant energy, her natural grace, it was all hidden behind a mask of artificial youth. And here's something else many women don't realize. Trying to impress him with your accomplishments can actually push him away. It's beautiful that you're independent, accomplished, and successful. But if that's the only side you show, if you constantly talk about your job, your travels, your properties, you're leading with your resume, not your heart. That earns respect, but not necessarily romantic interest. He wants to feel something when he's with you. He wants to laugh with you, explore with you, connect with you, not feel like he's attending a business meeting. And if you're always highlighting your financial stability, ask yourself, what are you really telling him? That your worth is tied to what you own? That he should value you for what you've built, not who you are? Another quiet mistake? Being too available, responding to every text the second it arrives, cancelling your plans just to fit into his, always saying yes, constant compliments, constant reassurance, constant attention. It might feel like love, but what he feels is neediness, and that's never attractive. The woman who keeps her rhythm, who has her own life, her own plans, her own joy, she becomes irresistible. Not because she's playing hard to get, but because she's whole, because she's choosing to be with him, not clinging to him. Imagine if every time he messages, you drop everything. Every time he suggests something, you agree without thought. Every time he shares anything, you turn it into praise. What's left for him to discover? Where's the challenge? Where's the mystery? Attraction thrives when both people feel alive in the connection, not when one is giving all and the other is merely receiving. And now here's the most delicate truth. I want you to really understand something. Many mature women fall into a quiet trap, the trap of taking life too seriously. They begin to believe that in order to earn respect, they must always appear rational, composed, formal, and fully in control. In doing so, they unintentionally silence their sensual, light-hearted, and playful nature. Do you know what a younger man truly seeks in a mature woman? It's not more seriousness. He already has plenty of that in his daily responsibilities, his career, his family, the world's expectations. What he's drawn to is something else entirely. He's looking for a woman who can laugh easily, who can be spontaneous and warm, someone with radiant energy and a spark that isn't bound by fear. A woman who knows how to enjoy life with the grace, confidence, and richness that only come from lived experience. It's that powerful blend of vitality and maturity that becomes magnetic. It's not about trying to appear young. It's about being vibrant in your wisdom, alive in your truth. Let me tell you about Patricia, a 51-year-old woman who, after her divorce, had unknowingly built a wall of seriousness around herself. She thought that to be respected as a professional and a single mother, she had to project total control at all times. So when she met Roberto, a 36-year-old man, she carried that same serious tone into every part of their connection. Their early dates were polite, respectful, but distant. Patricia spoke about important topics, gave thoughtful insights, and presented herself as responsible and accomplished. But Roberto felt like he was sitting in a conference room, not sharing a moment of chemistry. There was no laughter, no relaxed energy, no spark that lights up the space between two people. It was all facts, no feeling. Now here's something many women don't realize, the performance of indifference. Some women feel they must act like they don't care, as if showing emotion is a weakness. They maintain emotional distance so they don't appear needy or vulnerable. But that's a mistake, because when you fake disinterest, it always shows. And what the other person senses isn't mystery, it's coldness. Not confidence, but detachment. True maturity doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means expressing them honestly without clinging, without games. It's showing up as your full self. Open, but grounded. Warm, but not desperate. When a mature woman hides behind emotional distance, she blocks one of her deepest gifts, her ability to connect in a meaningful, soul-deep way. Younger men, especially those used to surface-level connections, often find this emotional depth incredibly appealing when it's real. What's at the root of these self-sabotaging behaviors? It's the belief that age is a disadvantage, that maturity needs to be hidden or compensated for. And this belief leads many women to act out of fear, to overprove their worth, to control interactions, or to be overly accommodating, as if they should be grateful for attention. But here's the truth that turns everything around. Your age is not a flaw. It's not something to fix. It's simply a difference. And when you embrace it instead of resisting it, it becomes one of your most powerful qualities. A younger man who's genuinely drawn to a mature woman is not asking her to act younger. He's looking for exactly what she brings to the table: depth, presence, experience, and a worldview shaped by time. He's looking for something he hasn't yet lived, something that inspires him, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. So ask yourself, what can you offer that a woman his age likely cannot? Perspective that comes from walking through life with open eyes. Emotional steadiness that forms after navigating storms. Freedom that shines through when a woman has stopped trying to mold herself into someone else's ideal. And most of all, the rich emotional texture of someone who has truly lived, who has loved, lost, rebuilt, and grown stronger for it. This isn't about the years on your calendar. It's about how you've lived those years. And that kind of life carries a quiet allure. The women who thrive in these relationships, they don't try to seduce. They don't play roles. They don't chase youth. They stand firmly in who they are and invite others into that space. They don't apologize for their stories. They speak from them. They don't downplay their age. They wear it as a badge of growth, of survival, of wisdom. Let me share a story about Elena, a 46-year-old woman who had raised 2 children alone and weathered a tough divorce. When she met Marcos, who was 33, she didn't try to cover her past or soften her edges. She didn't tell her story to impress him or win sympathy. She simply shared her truth. About the nights she sat up with sick kids, about what she learned from heartbreak, about how she rebuilt herself. And Marcos was drawn in, not because she had suffered, but because she had risen. What captivated him wasn't drama. It was the quiet strength and wisdom that only come from facing life head on. You see, a young man who falls for a mature woman isn't looking for someone who fits a mold. He's looking for something altogether new. A woman who's already whole, not looking to be completed. Someone who lives from her center, not for approval. Someone who inspires, not by trying, but simply by being fully herself. Because when you feel the need to prove your worth, you weaken your presence. True magnetism isn't about trying. It's about allowing others to feel your value without you needing to explain it. And here's something truly beautiful. A woman who respects herself, who takes care of her body and mind out of love and not insecurity, who shows up in her fullness, that woman is luminous, no matter her age, because authenticity is electric. In a world where everyone is performing, pretending, and posturing, meeting someone real, someone unmasked, is like breathing fresh air. Imagine walking into a room and meeting someone who is simply herself. No roles, no personas, no need to impress. That kind of woman makes you feel calm, intrigued, and seen. The irony? The mature women who are most irresistible to younger men are usually the ones not even trying. They're busy living, working on their passions, traveling, creating, enjoying their solitude, nurturing friendships. They're not searching for someone to make them whole. They're already full, and that fullness draws people in like gravity. They aren't trying to fill a gap. They're offering something overflowing, and that difference is felt instantly. When a mature woman stands in her truth, when she's made peace with where she's been, feels joy in where she is, and holds hope for where she's going, her energy becomes irresistible. Younger men, often still navigating self-doubt, feel drawn to that sense of clarity. But make no mistake, it's not about becoming someone's life coach or mother figure. It's about being so in tune with your own journey that your very presence becomes uplifting without you trying to be uplifting. But when you realize your age is simply one of many traits, not a hurdle, everything opens. When you stop seeing your experiences as baggage and start seeing them as gold, you stop hiding and start shining. You don't need to compete with youth. You bring something different, something only time can offer. What a 20-year-old woman may have in charm or energy, you offer in insight, steadiness, and depth. You face real challenges and discovered who you are on the other side. You found peace, not in perfection, but in growth. And that kind of energy is deeply seductive. The man who is drawn to you isn't looking for a girl. He's not looking for a teacher. He's looking for a woman, anchored in herself, aware of her value and alive in her skin. A woman who sees him, not as a project, but as a partner. Someone who connects with him, not to fix him, or impress him, but to walk beside him. Take Adriana, for example. At 52, she had traveled the world, led a meaningful career, raised her kids, and even battled a serious illness. When she met Julian, a 35-year-old man, she didn't list these things as achievements. She just lived in her truth. Julian was drawn in, not by her resume, but by how she inhabited her life. The peace she carried, the fire in her eyes, the self-assurance that came not from ego, but from acceptance. Because in the end, it's not about how many years you've lived. It's how present you are in the moment. It's not about the facts of your past. It's how your past shaped your spirit. It's not about knowledge. It's about embodied wisdom. When a woman truly embraces this, when she no longer shrinks or hides or overcompensates, she becomes unforgettable. The woman others admire. The one men are drawn to, not because she's trying to be perfect, but because she's powerfully, unshakably herself. What pulls people in isn't youth. It's aliveness. Not surface charm, but inner light. Not flawless skin, but fearless presence. And those things, they're yours if you choose to claim them. You don't have to beg for them to be seen. You only need to stop hiding them. So celebrate who you are, not someday, now. Because once you do, once you truly embody that knowing, everything changes. Not only in your love life, but in your entire way of being.